We are in a message series, which just means a bunch of sermons all together, going through one topic or one book of the Bible right now. We're going through the book in the Bible, in the New Testament of 1 Peter. So if you want to, you can actually get 1 Peter up in your Bible right now or on your phone. If you didn't bring a Bible, you can just Google 1 Peter. We've called this Exile Survival Guide. How to live different. How to live as aliens and exiles in a pretty strange world. I had a bit of a strange week. I had a big week. We had a momentous occasion in the Sweetman household this week because we showed our kids one of the greatest films of all time. It's called The Princess Diaries. Who here has seen The Princess Diaries? Yeah. Isn't it a wonderful piece of cinema? Yeah, I'm preaching, but yeah, that's cool. It is good. No, it is unconceivable. I actually really like the interaction, by the way. Come on, we need more of that. Thank you. Come on, that's good. It's one. If you like, Dan, what the heck are you talking about? It's about this girl, Mia. Here's Mia, and she is a normal San Francisco teenager, very ordinary, boring life. Her life's hard. She gets bullied, and then one day someone turns up and they says, "Guess what, Mia? Your dad's actually a king. You're a princess of a country called Genovia," which I found out isn't actually a real country. It took me 10 years to find that out. And she goes through a big thing and, she works out who she is and she's got to learn and she's got to try and work out how to do it and then she doesn't want to do it. And then in the end, she finally says yes to her true identity. I'm a princess. And the credits rolled and my boys had already left the room. And it was just Harmony, my daughter. And I'm watching this with Harmony. I look at her and she looks at me. And I look at her. And I said, "Sweetheart." And she says, "Yes, Dad." I said, "Brush your teeth and get to bed. You've got a big day tomorrow." Life is not like The Princess Diaries. Because I'm an encouraging father. Life is not like that. Harmony, if you trace your lineage back, you're going to hit a convict. Okay? You're not going to hit a king. That's not in your veins. The reality is you've got to go brush your teeth, get to bed, you've got school in the morning, you've got to get your homework done, you've got to get your life done. Here's the truth. 90% of your life is mundane and boring and not special. Amen. All right, let's finish up. Where's the band? That's the truth. And I made that statistic up, by the way, but it's what it feels like. Life is not The Princess Diaries. Life is tough. You're trying to get through. I just came back from an overseas trip and it was like, well, I'm in New York and now I'm back in Rothwell. And I'm sorry, but it's early mornings and it's trying to get the laundry done and it's trying to, do you know how much laundry there is with 3 children? Yes, some of you do. I know you do. Cooking dinners. Working out what to have for dinner and then cleaning the kitchen. It is boring, mundane stuff. And sometimes, to be honest, if you're a Jesus follower here today, your faith can become mundane as well. It can kind of deaden us. It's like, I've got to pray. All right, pray. And I've got to read the Bible. All right, can try and get the time to do that in my busy schedule. I've got to be a decent human being. That's what Christians should be. And try and get this all worked out. And it can just feel like another day, another Sunday, another week. I'm crispy. That's good. And it can deaden us to the truth of who you really are. In the middle of all this, in the middle of a pretty ordinary bunch of people, this guy, Peter, who was friends with Jesus, writes these words. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. Listen to this. But you, he's talking to Jesus' followers, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. That's the reality of who you are. And he goes hard. He's using words. He's using big words. He's using phrases that you'd see in like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or The Matrix. It's like, you are the chosen one. You are a royal priesthood. You are like a special order. You're God's special possession. You are a holy people. And holy, you might have heard that word before. If you're new to church, you even might have heard that word before. Holy doesn't mean someone who's really, really good. Holy means set apart for the special purposes of God. You know, like the china that your mum never let you touch, and she only got out when the really, really important people came around for dinner? It's like, that's who you are. It's a little bit like, I'm sorry, but the Princess Diaries. It's like, hey, here's a letter. Here's a message. You are royalty. You're an order of priests. It's incredible. And you might be sitting here today, 10:30 in the morning in Rothwell going, mate, okay, great. Doesn't feel like that. I'm just trying to get through. I'm just trying to not make a mess. I'm just trying to find 2 socks that are the same to put on this morning. Like, that's my life. And here you are saying I'm some kind of like royal priest, some chosen one for this incredibly important purpose from God. You are way more important in some respects than you think. And we live in this gap between the calling of God, the special purposes of God. This is the meaning of life, guys. And just trying to get through the mundane. And you might have something in you that's like, I know I'm made for more. I know that I'm actually made for something important. That's when we're kids, We dream of being a princess, or we dream of being important, or we dream of being, an actor. We dream of scoring the winning try. I remember how many times I counted down in my backyard playing basketball, like 3, 2, 1, it's game 7, swish, he's done it again, Dan Sweetman, the NBA superstar. Like, I know I'm important. I know I got it in me. I know there's something in me that's actually made to do something big, and the whole world's going to see just how vital and how great it is. There's a reason we dream about that. It's because it's the truth. It's the truth. How do we live, though, with this gap? I think sometimes we accept the gap. We accept, and I'm going to put myself in this category sometimes, we accept a version of Christianity that's safe and comfortable and ultimately powerless. A Christianity that asks basically nothing from us, really, apart from a few hours a week. It doesn't really ask much of us. And in return, if we're honest, it doesn't really give us much either. Like on our day-to-day life, it's like, well, I don't know how that really helps me. Maybe one day it'll help me, but not today. And Peter's like, he's writing to groups in kind of the Asia region of followers of Jesus. This displaced, marginalized, misunderstood exiles scattered through the Roman Empire. And he's like, you've been chosen before the beginning of the world. Get your head around that. For my purposes. You're my royalty and you have a mission. This is who you really are, Peter says. Now, we live in a world right now where everyone's trying to work out who they are. It's a very new thing, really. Like, for most of history, you just got told who you were. You right? What am I going to do when I grow up, Dad? What's your last name? Smith? Yeah, you're going to be a blacksmith, bro. Like, that's who you are. And we live in a world of confusion where everyone's actually trying to come up with who they are. And it's exhausting. It's an epidemic of identity confusion. Here's some of the answers our culture is giving right now. Who are you? You are what you achieve. You are what you earn. You are what or who you are attracted to. You are what you look like. You are what people have done to you. That's called victim mentality. You are who loves you. You are how many followers you have. It's trying to make up an identity and it's crushing you. We weren't created to make up our own identity. It's like asking my 6-year-old to build a car. He can't do it. And if he tried, I wouldn't want to get in the car. Like, don't try to make up your own identity. Identity is not achieved, it is received. We get given it. You don't become royalty by earning it. You become royalty by encountering the King. Does anyone remember in the year 2000, there was this girl from Tasmania named Mary, and she was in a pub in Sydney, and she encountered this guy named Fred, and it turns out that encounter changed her life. Her and Fred got married, and he was actually Frederick. He was the crown prince of Denmark. Imagine that. That's like real life princess stories. And I remember all of Australia was talking about this girl from Tasmania suddenly being like a European princess. This is real life. What? And now she's the queen. She's Queen Mary of Denmark. Have a look at this photo. She doesn't look like a Tassie girl, does she? She's royalty. There's something different about her. She's carrying herself different. You're a chosen people. You've encountered the King, many of you here today, and it makes you someone different. But here's the thing. It makes you something different immediately. The second you encounter Jesus and you say yes to him, Mary had to say yes to Fred, and she had to pledge her life to him, and she had to accept his love. And the minute she did that, she became a princess. It was a royal wedding. But that doesn't mean she acted like royalty straight away. I remember at the time, I was just thinking about it and laughing about this Australian walking around the courts of Denmark and being like, "Hey, how's it going? How are ya? Yeah, what were you on the Savo, Fred?" Like, I'm assuming she talked like that. I don't know how Tasmanians talk, but so some Tasmanians here in the room. We love everyone. Everyone's accepted at Lifepoint. No matter how dark your past. We have to realize our identity, and then we have to learn how to live it out. And Mary, I'm sure, had to learn. And actually, that's why Peter wrote this letter, to tell people their identity and then to teach them. Now you need to live like royalty, because you're not going to do it straight away. Some of you are frustrated. You're like, how come I met Jesus and now I'm still like struggling with A, B, C, D, E? It's because you're learning. That's okay. Here's how Peter says it. He says, therefore, rid yourselves of all malice and all deceit. He's listing out the old way of living. Hypocrisy, envy, and slander of every kind. Like newborn babies, crave pure spiritual milk, so that by it you may grow up in your salvation, now that you've tasted that the Lord is good. Because you're going to have to go through a process. Theologians call it sanctification, where you remove the old life, and it's you have to do something. He's not saying just your royalty, chill out. He's saying you're royalty, so you've got to get to work here and rid yourself of the old ways. There's this scene, I love a good montage scene in a movie. How good's a good montage scene? There's this montage scene in The Princess Diaries where she's learning to, eat like a princess and walk like a princess and look like a princess and talk like a princess and do archery like a princess for some weird reason. She's learning to become who her real identity is, and it takes a while. And that is what the book of Peter, or 1 Peter, what this letter is about. A lot of the time is declaring identity and then explaining, here's what you need to do to live like this. He says you've got to be like a baby. You've got to relearn everything. Now, it's okay that you're not very good at it when you begin. No one points to a baby and says, why are you so shocking at life? It's like you have to grow up. But you do have to grow up. You do have to rid yourself of the old ways. So I just want to finish this morning by trying to skip really quickly through 1 Peter chapter 2 and outline how Peter says we have to live differently. Okay? What a royal priesthood would look like. And if you're not a Jesus follower today, let me tell you, firstly, you can become one. You can become a royal exile. It's a beautiful life. It's the best life, and it goes forever. But you might be able to just lean in here and go, hey, is this for me? Something might resonate in your heart here this morning. Here's how to live as a royal in exile. The first thing he says you have to stand strong against the old desires. He actually says there's a war going on. He uses real dramatic big words. He says, "Dear friends, I urge you, as foreigners and exiles, to abstain from sinful desires, which wage," what's the word say? War. There's a war happening, a war against your soul. If there was any war I'd be taking seriously, it's the war against your soul. You've been given a new identity. You're a royal now, but there's old desires and old patterns and old ways of thinking and behaving handed down probably from your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents. There's things that you learned to survive, which is royals don't act like that. And you can win, friends. Here's the good news. You can win the war. Jesus said that the gates of hell cannot stand against the kingdom of God. You've got the same power that raised Christ from the dead living in you. You can win this war. Let me tell you about a war I've been winning recently. I've struggled most of my life with comparison, the comparison trap. I'm an eldest child. All the eldest childs, raise your hands. Proud and strong. Look at you wonderful, handsome, beautiful people. I'm always trying to be the best. I'm always thinking, okay, I need to stand out. I need to actually be the best here. I'm always looking around me and saying, how are they doing? How are they doing? And so much of the time, my kind of old way of thinking was, okay, compare myself to them. Am I better than them? Okay, good. Now I can feel proud. Or compare myself to them. I'm not doing as well as them. Now I feel ashamed. And I've been warring against this my entire life. And friends, let me tell you, I'm winning the war. I barely ever feel like that anymore. And I used to feel like that all the time. And I've had to go to counseling, and I've had to confess to my friends, and I've had to pray about it, and I've had to think about it, and I've journaled about it. I've taken this war real seriously, and it's still in me sometimes, if I'm really honest. Just this year, I took 3 months off social media because I'm like, this is part of the war for me. You might not need to do that. For me, I'm like, yep, 3 months off social media because I am comparing myself again. But you can win. I don't know what it is for you. What's your war? Stand strong. Your royalty. Second thing he says, you got to stand strong and you got to stand out in our culture. He says you got to be holy, but not holy for you. So many Christians, I think they're being holy for themselves. Like, so I feel better about myself. Or I'm being holy for God. That's a beautiful thing. I want to be holy for you, God. And God says, that's great, but I want you to be holy for the world. I want you to actually be used for something useful in this world. He says, live such good lives among the pagans, it's an offensive word, but it means people that don't follow Jesus, that though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day he visits us, which is straight plagiarism, because Jesus said the exact same thing. And you're allowed to plagiarize Jesus, okay? I do it every Sunday. Matthew 5, Jesus says, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. So let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify the Father in heaven. He says in that passage, don't put your light under a bowl. For too long, I feel like Christians have been about, hey, we're cool. We're contemporary. We're just like everybody else. We can fit in. We're not too weird. And I reckon now in this culture moment we're in right now, it's like, jokes, we're weird. We are. We're different. Our values are strange. We're not going to fit into a political party. We're not going to fit into a way of thinking. We're not going to fit into the culture. We are going to have some things that are the same every now and then, but mostly we're not going to be normal. A royal monarch is not trying to fit in. They can't. You don't go to Buckingham Palace to wave at the Queen or the King and hope they fit in. Like, they're not going to fit in. They want to be different. I'm having a bit of a battle with my son right now. He's 12 years old, and it's like, Dad, can I get a phone? And, all my friends have phones. And I'm like, no, we're not this is just a rule in our family. We're not going to get a phone until you're like 16 years old or something. We don't want to let the whole world get into your brain. Like, we want to be a little bit different. And he's like, Dad, I'm not going to be normal. And I'm like, let me tell you, mate, you don't want to be normal. Have you seen normal recently? Look around. Did we want normal? Did we want mental health challenges in like 44% of Generation Z and Generation Alpha? Do we want normal? Loneliness? Anxiety? Not knowing who you are and who you should not knowing what gender you are. Like, we do not want normal. We need to stand out. And though it's going to be hard, though they actually might mock you, it says here, go to that next slide, it says that they actually might accuse you of doing wrong. People are going to say, you're a weirdo, you're an idiot. I can't believe you think that, you're naive, you're stupid. Stay the course. Because people are eventually going to go, there's something about this. I remember a couple of years ago talking to a guy out on the fake grass having a coffee. And he said, look, I'm an atheist. I've been an atheist most of my life. But I've started to realize the people I disagree with the most, which is Christians, many of them are living the life I actually want. And so I'm going to start coming to church. And he's been coming to church regularly. Stand out. And I think it's working. Maybe you're here today because you're like, yeah, I don't agree with everything, but there's something going on here. We need to stand out. Get used to it. Stop going to church. Be the church. Start taking the church everywhere that you go. That's what royalty looks like in exile. Big jobs. We got to stand strong and we got to stand out. And I don't know about you, but that's a huge task. And I don't know about you, but you're probably very busy. And you've got a lot going on. And you're like, mate, I'm just trying to survive. And now I've been tasked, it's not a small task, with being the light of the world. I find it incredible that Jesus says, you are the light of the world. It's like, hang on, not you. It's like, no, you are the light of the world. I'm going to use you. We're like praying, God, would you do something? And God's like, yeah, I did it. You're ready. Let's go. How do we do that? Here's what Peter says. We got to stay fed on the goodness of God. This is the fuel. It's His grace and His love and His mercy and His kindness. And it's not just about knowing it. It's about feeding on it. He says, you might have read it before, now that you've tasted that the Lord is good. And Peter, he spent time with Jesus. He knows what it means to feed and to actually taste it. And he's plagiarizing again. He's quoting a psalm there, a famous song for Jewish people. He's quoting Psalm 34, taste and see that the Lord is good and blessed is the one who takes refuge in Him. Friends, if you could just hear one thing this morning, here it is. The fuel for royal living is tangibly experiencing the kindness and the goodness of God. Taste and see that He's good. When was the last time you tasted it and you saw it? I was in New York 2 weeks ago and we went into one of these cool cafes and I was getting like a hot chocolate for my wife and there was a croissant sitting on the bench. And there's a label that said, salted caramel and cookies and cream infused croissant. Now, friends, if there's any holy mix, that's a holy mix. I've never heard of that together in one croissant. And I thought about it, and I looked at it, and I thought, I need to taste it. And I bought that croissant, and I was enjoying it so much, Steph took a photo. She was like, you're really into this croissant, man. I was just like so into it. I think I put on 3 kilograms from that one croissant. It was incredible. And here I am telling you about it. It's easy to talk about what you've tasted and seen to be good. It's not a job for me to tell you about the croissant. Because man, if you ever see salted caramel and cookies and cream together, ever, please eat it. Taste and see. When was the last time you had experience with Jesus like that, where you tasted and you saw and you experienced and you're like, I cannot help but be a priest at my workplace. I know he's so good. I cannot help but be a priest in my family. I cannot help but take holiness where I go and be a special instrument of God because I've been fueled by the gospel, by the good news and the grace of God. Here's how Peter says it works. Ready? Actually, why don't we stand for this reading, okay? Here's how it works. As you come to him, the living stone, rejected by humans, but chosen by God and precious to him, you also, like living stones, are being built into a spiritual house to be a holy priesthood, offering spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. Your life is to be a spiritual sacrifice. You are here to serve this world because he is worthy. He is worthy of every second of your day. And he is worthy because he is the one who was rejected. And he's building you. Keep encountering the King, and you will be built into something incredible. And I can see it in this church. And it excites me. I invite you to become part of it. Being built into something beautiful. A city on a hill in a dark world.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. We really hope you enjoyed that. Two quick things before we go, okay? One, we'd love to connect with you. Go to our website, lifepoint.org.au, hit connect, and just give us your details. Someone from our church will be in contact with you. And the second thing is, if you live in the area, around the kind of Moreton Bay or North Brisbane, come along to a service, 8:30, 10 o'clock and 5 p.m. We'd absolutely love to see you here on a Sunday.